Okay, well today I'm going to hang a grid painting, and this is a painting that's made up of 25 individual boxes to make a whole painting. And this painting happens to be of the Stars and Bars, which is the symbol that you see on the side of a World War II airplane. And my dad was a pilot and he still flies a bit, and my brother Jim is a professional pilot. And I just grew up going to air shows and being around planes a lot, and I just like the symbol. So maybe 15 years ago I decided to start painting them on aluminum and steel. And I sold the first one I made almost immediately. So my wife was just like, you got to make more of those star paintings. So that's kind of one of the things I'm sort of known for. So I do make these on a regular basis. They're all different. They don't happen to all be grid paintings like this one, but I thought it'd be fun to just take a closer look at this. I'll try to explain how I made it, and then I'll show you how I hang a painting like this. We'll take a look at the back of the painting, and you can see it's 1/2 inch plywood, and I've wrapped the edge with more 1/2 inch plywood strips that I've cut to 1 inch. And essentially I have a braced panel now, and at the top of the back of the painting I have what's known as a French cleat. This is a piece of wood with a 45-degree angle or a 30-degree angle, and the way this will hang is I'll attach a piece of wood with that angle, the matching angle, on the wall, and then the painting will hang on that cleat, making sure that it stays perfectly straight and I have even spacing in between each painting. It's also important to number the paintings, because when you take the painting apart, you can see in this case you could probably figure out a star, but if there wasn't a graphic on the image, it would be more difficult to find out where this painting is positioned in the whole. So since this one has a number 18 on it, I know that when I go to hang the painting that it will hang in the 18th position. The aluminum skin on the painting is made with roof flashing that I've glued to the plywood with contact cement, and I'll let the roof flashing hang over the edge a little bit and then clean that up with a flush cut bit in the router. And it's really the same process that you would use if you were making a Formica countertop. When I hang the painting, I want each box to have 1 inch space between the sides and the bottom and the top of the next painting or the next box. And basically I'll just work my way down from the top of the painting to the bottom. And since I've already spaced out where I want the top row of boxes to go, I'm now going to take a 1/4 inch by 3.5 inch piece of plywood and put it up tight against the top of the paintings and our boxes, and transfer a line from each box onto this piece of 1/4 inch plywood. Now this will be my jig for hanging the painting, and next I'll screw the jig to the wall level, and then I'll transfer the lines from the jig to the wall, and then I'll mount the top row of French cleats. Each box measures 11 inches square, and each cleat measures 6 inches across. So I've put a center line on the cleat and a center line between my hanging marks, and I'll just trace the edge of the cleat, and this gives me a little bit of wiggle room when I hang the painting on each side of the cleat, meaning once the cleat's on the wall, I can then adjust the box a little bit either to the left or the right. Once I've attached the top row of cleats, it really becomes pretty easy, because you're simply going to work your way down. And the easiest way to do that is to take a measurement from the bottom of the first cleat to the bottom of your next cleat with the inch space between the two boxes. And in this case it's 12 inches. So I'll cut a piece of 1/4 inch plywood at 12 inches and use that for a jig. Okay, well now I'm ready to hang the painting. I'll need to bring the jigs with me, a screw gun, a sharp pencil, and a level. Okay, well I'm back in the studio, and that was a lot of fun. I always like to hang those paintings because that's really the only time you see them as a whole. And it's just fun to work with the grid. I think also because it's limitless, and like a painting like that, or you can see I have that frame over there, that is just kind of a cool way to see how different images react when you hang them next to each other. So that's something I keep here in the studio, and it's always fun to take like a black and white figure painting and then maybe put it next to a color piece, or put a figure next to a chair and make that conversation between design and the human body. It's just, I just really like it. Now next week I'm going to be hanging 5 paintings in a row over at a home in Rumson, and this is a cool house because it's really a traditional house. It's a center hall colonial, and it's neat to see something like a kind of pop art in a more traditional setting. You have a real eclectic feel, and I know that when I think about good interior design, I think about what I like most is a collection, an eclectic collection. And you think of there was an art dealer, if you're not familiar with him, Leo Castelli, who he was the dealer for Jasper Johns. He's the dealer for Roy Lichtenstein, Robert Rauschenberg, all these guys. And I saw a tour of his house. Maybe it's something you can find on YouTube. And it was really cool because it was sort of traditional moldings and things like that. And then you would have one of Jasper Johns' targets, or one of his flag paintings, or one of Roy Lichtenstein's paintings. And I like that aesthetic. So anyway, I'll bring the camera along. We'll see how these paintings look. They're going to go over a mantle. And I'm going to hang these with what's known as a Z-bar. And it's a lot like a French cleat system. And so let's just go over here. I'll show you the paintings that I'm going to hang. And these are paintings that you can purchase. These are on my website. They're original paintings. They're not prints. I make them using a stencil. Sometimes I'll draw on them or something, but they are all original. If you want to check those out, you can just go to the shop John Peters on my website. These are the paintings that I'll be hanging next week, and I refer to these as Bikini Girls. This is a series that I've been working on now for maybe 15 years or more. I just keep going back to it. And really, it's just a fun way to play with color. And that's really what the client's doing. I think a trend now in design is to have more neutral colors in your home and bring the color in with artwork. And so that's what they're doing here. The paintings will be hung on a Z-bar, and that's because they're going to hang 5 in a row. And it's really important that they hang perfectly straight with a perfect reveal in between each painting, because there's definitely an architectural element to them when you hang paintings like that, whether you're hanging a diptych or a triptych, or in this case 5 paintings in a row. So I'm going to use a Z-bar. I'll talk a little bit more about that during or after the installation next week. Well, I'm sure you've noticed that the studio's a little cramped this week, and that's because I've been photographing some of my furniture. Set up a photo station for photographing some of my smaller paintings. And the reason for this is we're going to start adding featured paintings to Monday's blog post. Basically, that's my website, Art and Home by John Peters. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. We're working really hard to have original content every day of the week, and Mondays will be an original painting. And I'll talk a little bit about why I painted it, or maybe the inspiration behind the painting. And also going forward, I'm definitely going to do more painting classes. The paint by numbers, I know some people, some of the real serious artists out there don't agree with it, but I don't agree with them. I think that painting is the way you get better at painting. So you just paint. It's no different than exercising or playing guitar. You have to get out there and do it. And so if paint by numbers helps people, I think it's fun. And to be honest with you, I like to make it. It's kind of neat. So I don't know. I think some of the real serious artists out there are too serious. I think if you think of somebody who says to you, hey, my work is really serious, it's like such a turnoff. So I'm going to not worry about what people say. I'm just going to have fun. That's what I want to do. Now, if you're an interior designer, an architect, or a client, contact me if you have a great idea for a painting that you want built or made. I always say build a painting because a lot of my paintings start out on the table saw. But if you're looking for an original piece of artwork, contact me. It could become a great video and also a great project. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Please continue to go to the site for everyday inspiration, everything from building furniture to maybe small home renovation projects to making your own original art. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.